Hi you guys, I want to go back to step 9 and explain a little bit NetworkSrf because it's a really great tool, and there were some things that I skipped when I introduced the tool. So number one thing, let me just go back to Rhino and show you. So right now I have a series of curves, okay, 4 of them to be exact, and I wanted to create a surface that goes in between these 4 lines. And using NetworkSrf is a great tool. So right now, if I have my 4 lines and type NetworkSrf and then select all 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit enter, it gives me this window, and you can play with the edge curve, interior curve, and the angles, but just accept the default and play with it to see what it gives you. So I have this covered right now, and you can see it looks good. But then one thing that I wanted to mention also is the idea of planar, coplanar, and non-planar or non-coplanar. Okay, in this case, and I'm going to go back one step. All my lines or curves are planar, meaning I drew them all in the front view and they are all on the same surface. Picture a piece of paper and you have your 4 lines on the same piece of paper. That's what planar means. Okay, if I select all 4 and go to the top view, you will see it will make just one straight line. You can see it right here, it just makes one straight line. If I go to the right view also, you see it makes just one straight line. So that's what planar means, or coplanar. They are all on the same plane. Okay, now let me go back to the front view. Now I can change one of them to be in a different plane, meaning it's no longer going to be all aligned. Okay, so I selected one curve on top. I'm going to go to the right view, and I'm just going to rotate it really simply and then move it a little bit out so that it's in a different plane right now. So you can see it right now. These 3 lines are on the same plane. This one is definitely on a different plane. So let me go back now to the front view, and you can see it better. Okay, one thing I'm going to do again network surfaces on different planes. So I'm going to take this one also and just put it on a different plane also. I'm just going to same thing, rotate it a little bit and move it so later on I can put it on a different plane, and then I think that's enough. You get the point. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the front view. So now one thing that I want to make sure of is all my endpoints are touching each other. Okay, so I turn on the points and then I grab this point and I just drag it to the other endpoint because I have my O snap on and N is on, so it snaps on it right away. Okay, and I can just do a little bit of editing here to just give you the shape that I was playing with. So right here, so I have this shape, and right now it is not coplanar. Okay, because if I go to the top view, you will see it's all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to click on escape to get out of the points mode, and then if I go to the perspective view, you can see better what I'm talking about. They're all on a different plane. So now I'm going to close this gap. I'm just going to turn on the points on this one right here, grab one point and drag it to the other endpoint. Not rotate it, I just want to drag it, select it, and then drag it to the other endpoint right here. So it's now a closed series of polylines or curves. Okay, now I'm going to do a NetworkSrf on this one. Okay, escape to get out of the point mode, and then I'm going to type NetworkSrf, enter, and then select this series of line and hit enter, and it gives me the 4 points where I can move things around, change them, but I'm just going to accept the default to show you what it will look like. Okay, now you can see I have a mesh or a surface on a series of lines that originally were not coplanar. Okay, and you can play with it, and really you can see here very clearly they're not on the same plane, but yet still I have a surface that goes over it. So just one thing to know about NetworkSrf, it's a very complex tool, can do a lot of things, but the one thing that I like about it is you can create a surface or a mesh within different arcs or different curves that are not planar. Okay, and I think the minimum you need is 3. Okay, you can do it with 4, but the minimum you need is 3. For example, if I deleted one of these right here, I can still do network SRF. I'm just going to connect to the endpoint, grab this endpoint, I'm just going to drag it to this endpoint right here, and then I want to do a network SRF on 3 curves, select it, network SRF, hit enter, I get my 3 points, hit enter, and you can see I just made a new surface also on 3 points. Okay, so that's what I wanted to go back on to explain a little bit network SRF, but then now we're going to go back to our tutorial.